Ever been overwhelmed by how things glow and wonder how to approach it? Here is my easy to follow technique, starting with outline, underdrawing, rich colour and detail stage. Be sure to watch it right through till the end because here and there I'll be slowing things down in real time so you can take a closer look. So let's dive in and take a look. Just using a quarter grid now and putting the lines in very lightly to start with, doing the big shapes first, using the 708 dark grey CarbOthello pencil. And then what I do then is use a rubber or a kneadable eraser just to reshape these lines. And then once I'm happy with that light outline, I go over them with more of a darker line and then just reshaping things. It's just a case of having a bit of guesswork to start with and just move it around until you're happy with the position of things. Here's the colours I'll be using for the underdrawing, the light colours, and for the dark areas, these colours here. Starting off by ghosting the outline with a Faber-Castell kneadable eraser, and then starting with the white. Now these are the colours I'll be using for the white of the eyes, which is orange and blue, which is complementary to each other, so it creates nice greys. And in this area, because it's more purple, I'm using the cold red and ultramarine blue. For the shadows here, I'm using brown and then blue and the dark ultramarine blue. Adding a little bit of lemon yellow to start with, just to create a little bit of a glow. And then just choosing colours that are similar colour to what you're looking for, and then just having a play really with the colours. I mean, this underdrawing is not to get the colours correct and the value or the temperature or the chroma. It's just about getting all the shapes in the right place. So you're just playing with the colours to start with, and it gives you an idea of what's needed later, but it's just a case of just really making sure everything is in the correct position and building up that basic form and creating an idea of what's needed later. So just have a play and enjoy. I love this part of the drawing because you can be really loose and be expressive, and even at this stage you can feel the energy going into the work and you're building it up, you see, step by step, and putting that white down first and then just glazing over with these different colours just to create a feeling of the form. If you're enjoying this video, why not subscribe? It's absolutely free, and then you're sure not to miss any of my future videos. So I'm using the white, I'm putting more pressure where it's lighter, less pressure where it's mid-tone, and just getting a basic idea of the form, doing it that way, then just glazing over with the red and yellow ochre in places, and then using green to desaturate, and a bit of lemon yellow here because it's quite a glowing skin tone. Just running through this underdrawing quite quickly because I want to spend most of the time with real-time footage with the rich colour stage and detail stage. Now for the colours for the rich colour stage, these are the CarbOthello ones I'll be using. These are the Conti Paris pencils, and the Caran dash are these here. I always like to start by adding the lightest areas and the darkest areas, so then you've got the extremes and then you can sort of gauge what's in between. Now it starts off as a blocking, so I'm blocking in these rich colours, so I'm not putting too much detail in. I need to make sure that the value is right and the chroma before I start putting the final details on. So I'm just playing with the idea of what's needed. Now using the Faber-Castell white because it's really fresh and vibrant, so when you glaze over the top of that, that vibrancy shines through the colour. And I'm just playing about with the red, blue, orange, creating these sort of subtleties I'm needing, using a cotton bud here just to rub over the grain, just to soften it a little bit, and then just keep going over the colours. So I'll put the white down, glaze, white down. And I tend to work on all different areas, just getting these colour notes in, so it gives me an idea how to judge and compare colours and shades together. So I'm just keeping sort of flexible and not being fixed in one area. Now for the iris here, I'm using brown to start with, just getting the idea of the lines. So I'm shaping everything up, like planning it out, taking my time, getting that sort of balance. I'm not trying to get it exactly the same, it's just my interpretation really. It's just a suggestion of colour here and there. Just playing with different shades you've got in your kit and just seeing if that works. And just keep sort of open-minded really about the colour. You just got to keep playing and experimenting. But here I'm showing you how I chamfer the point or the lead of the pencil, just turning it and then just using that knife to create that sharp edge. You always need to keep your pencil sharp when you're doing these sort of things. Just need to keep remembering that you have to build these things up as well, because it's not going to be correct colour to start with. You know, you've just got to build up, map out. So I'm using the closest to it, which is the brown, but I'll soften that up, you see. Now I'm using green over that now, and so I'm playing about with what I've already mapped out and changing it up here and there, using a different blue here just to create that sort of shimmer look on the eye. And just keep generally just play, just see it as play. Don't look at it as an eye, or you'll freeze with overwhelmness. You know, it's just a case of just seeing it as colour, shapes, like everything else you do. Just enjoy the play and changing the subtleties of all these colours. Just slowing it down to real time now so you can see the pace I work at. Just using the lime yellow pencil there, but you can see how I turn the pencil to find another edge on the point. Dark green here I'm putting in, then I'll put brown with it, which will create a natural sort of tone shadow, because there's red in the brown, so red and green with them being complementary colour will create the correct shadows. So it's just a case of, like I say, just playing about with these shades and seeing what works. If you're enjoying this video, why not give it a like and share it with your friends? It would mean so much to me, as this would help the channel to grow. Now I'm using reds, greens, burnt sienna, brown, all these different shades to create the dark areas. Then I'm using the light greeny bluey colours or lemony yellowy colours. It's just a case of playing really, like I mentioned earlier, and keep softening it up and then keep adding that detail, softening it up, adding the detail. Green and the burnt sienna together works well because it desaturates it, makes a natural sort of tone of that colour, whichever it's green or red. Now here's the selection of colours I'll be using for the flesh tints, just to give you those colours again. And for the dark areas I'll be using those. Starting off with them with the Caran Flesh 5%, and then the Faber-Castell white, mixing in with it to get that freshness in the brighter areas, and just getting that pigment down, that rich pigment, desaturating it with the green there, just to create a natural skin tone shadow. And again, just look at it as shapes, don't see it as all the details. You've just got to add that pigment to start with, just to get that sort of rich, vibrant feel to it. So it's just a case of building it up. And I'm softening it here with the cotton bud as well. So I'm using cotton buds a lot these days. And then just go over it again, you know, with the white to create that sort of texture, and then you glaze over with it later. Just like to take this opportunity to thank all my patrons for their wonderful support every month. I can't thank you enough, it means the world to me. If you're considering joining me on Patreon and would like the benefit of longer, slower and more in-depth videos, please check out the link in the description below. Most of the videos I put on there now are all in real-time audio, real-time video, so you get a real flavour, step by step, in the moment, of how I approach the colours and everything else. So if you're interested in that, please check out the link in the description below after you watch the video. Just slowing it down to real time now so you can actually see how I'm putting the texture in there. It's just little squiggles here and there, and just let yourself go. Bring that reference image into you rather than coming out with tunnel vision staring at it. So you're painting or drawing from inside your heart. So bring that image into you and then let it flow through you, and just go with the movement, and then just be quite loose with it, and then the texture just sort of comes together in the end. Just using a cotton bud again, just very, very light pressure with this cotton bud though. You don't put too much pressure on, or it just takes the pigment off. Now for the eyelashes then, so keeping it very simple to start with, just using brown and white just to mark up where things are. So very, very light pressure to start with, hardly putting any pressure at all on that pencil. Just the tooth of the pastel mat that's taking the pigment off. So just scraping it across the top of it, just feeling my way. So don't put too much pressure on, because it'll make a mark in there and it'll be hard to get rid of if it's wrong. So just do it lightly to start with, and then just mapping it out using the white in between. Now I try and get it in the same position, but it's not crucial. It's my interpretation at the end of the day. So I'm using the pencil there on a horizontal plane to see how they line up against the bottom of that pupil there. Get an idea of where the placement is. But it's not crucial. It's just a case of putting your own sort of slant on it, really, and the feel of it. But what I say, if you can get as close as you can to it, it makes it easier, because you're not being too random with it. Then you've got something to follow with the reference image. Just slowing it down again here, so you can see how I'm using the white to map out and to get the feel of the flesh in between the hairs. I'm using the white first, but then I can glaze over the top over that with some colour later. That's the beauty of pastel mat, you see, it don't move. The actual pigment sticks to where you put it, and it's a magic surface to work on. Really important though to keep that tip of the pencil really sharp and pointy. And I use the side of the tip. I keep turning the pencil to try and find another edge. That's the beauty of using a knife. You create different edges on the tip there. You can just keep turning your pencil to find another sharp area. And again, using the white in between, shaping it all up, and then I can just glaze over that then to make it look like flesh tint again. But it makes it easier, see, to keep it simple by just using the white and the brown, and then you just glaze then in between. It just makes life a lot easier, and it looks detailed, and it looks very similar to what the reference image is. Now I'm adding texture again using the Faber-Castell white, little squiggles here and there, and glaze over with a lemon yellow. Wherever it's sort of glowy, add that little bit of lemon yellow. That's a tip for you. It doesn't really make a difference. Gives it that chroma look, that glow. So if forever, just keep putting that white down, glaze over, white down, glaze over, till you get it something like. Here again, it's similar to the eyelashes. I'm just finding my way there with the brown and using the white in between, and then glaze like exactly the same as the eyelashes, and it's just being loose with it and just shaping it up there with the white. If you would like to know more how I create shadows in skin tone using the complementary colours, I have got a free class for you. The link is in the description below, so if that interests you, please check it out after you've watched the video. The detail stage is all about getting the edges, the temperature, the value and the chroma all balanced up. So what I'm doing is actually keeping a wide vision of the actual study and comparing one shape against the other, one colour against the other, feeling how it feels, and then just changing it accordingly and getting an overall balance. So it's about getting those highlights right, the shadows right, getting those values. I work on 9 value systems, so it's subtling some up, darkening some others, and it's just getting a very sort of balanced feel to the portrait, or study in this case. Now working on the iris again, now I've put the skin tones in, I can see the proper colour then, what needs to be achieved. So I'll put a bit more warm red in there and a bit more sort of yellowy, greeny colour, which again, red and green together really works well. and also using darker green and the burnt sienna to create those sort of dark areas in there, and just really feeling your way, just getting that sort of feeling of all those beautiful colours together and getting the overall balance of things. And some areas need tinting as well, because when you put these colours over the top, these rich colours, you need to sometimes tint it down just to get that correct value and feel to the temperature of the colour. So it's important to go over some areas with the white as well, just to make sure that it's not too glowy. It's more in line with what you're actually seeing on the reference image. Thank you so much for watching the video right till the end. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have done, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. It means so much to me, as this would help the channel to grow. Now there's a lot in this study. There's the iris, the eyelashes, the skin tone. So I hope you've enjoyed following along. If there's any questions at all, please leave a message in the comment section below this video and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. In the meantime, if you'd like to see any more of my work, please check out this video here. Take care. Bye.